Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Guess where we are?
We're in a bath.
In the Onsen. That's what it looks like inside, but I've got my clothes on. Welcome to Onsen Ripples.
Ripples.
Oh,
It disappears.
Oh, look at you. Fun.
Yes.
Let's try. I'm going to try and stay still for this whole thing. Anyway, welcome to Onsen Ripples. We're already in March now.
Already.
And even though February had like an extra day, it just went like that.
29th.
29, yeah, the leap years and all that sort of stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Well, March is a good time though, isn't it?
It's always a good time, but...
It's always a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's still snow out there. I know a lot of people... here we are. Hey, this is better.
Yeah, it's better.
We were taking a little dip. But March. Welcome to March. We're in... starting... It's funny, March, because there's a lot going on. Usually, yeah, like it's in Japan, like the end of the schooling year usually finishes in March, which means a lot of when I was teaching at the university, we were already on break by now, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
And then we come back. So all the school year starts in April in Japan, which is a little bit different to Australia. And it's a kind of a nice thing because it's become spring and I think you feel a little bit energetic and energized and starting new things.
Yeah, it's like during the winter time, we kind of rest. We stay home and keep ourselves warm.
Well, not if you saw my last episode. I was outside not resting at all. Last week's episode, thanks for everyone watching for that one. It was, so I had to do a little bit of work outside. So no rest for me, but everyone else.
But like this, they hibernate, you know? Kind of like that. In springtime, they started to come out and start moving.
Everything, it gets that nice feel about it. But it's funny because like a lot of people who are traveling to Japan usually wait till April kind of to travel.
Cherry blossoms.
The cherry blossom time. Or they come during the winter for their skiing, which is January, May. So this February, March time is actually quite a nice time. February is a little bit cold. But the March time, there's still a lot of snow out there on the big mountains, and there's not many people there, so it's less crowded. So it's a good time to come to Japan. There's a lot of kids that are just planning their spring vacation, or already starting. So it's got that lively feel about it, and it's not not so busy, but and
not too cold either.
Not too cold, right? Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah,
you go back in the bath then.
Jump in the bath, anyways.
But yeah, it's a good time, the March, if you're thinking of coming. But we got all school stuff to do and things like that now coming up too, haven't we? Our little girl, she'll be moving on to a new class and
starting new year.
Yeah, and we've got all the parenty teacher things to do and stuff like that. And speaking of schooling, we had a guest stay with us over the weekend.
Last week, yeah, we did. She came last July during the summertime.
Yes.
Yeah, and stay for a couple of days. And actually, she's back in Japan right now and came and visit us.
She was, she came. We knew her from 20 years ago. We were all living in Sapporo, having fun, and they were having fun, and they fell in love with her and a couple of friends, and fell in love with the place, and stayed for a little while. Was always looking to come back. She came back to our wedding, and that was nice to catch up with her. And then went back to Australia and did her little bits and pieces, and decided, popped in for a visit last year, and then fell in love with it all over again.
Wanted to study Japanese again. Everything's kind of coming back, I guess.
Which is a great thing to do too. Like we were talking about school and everything like that. And I mean, everyone goes for a visit, and sure. So everyone goes for their little, trips away and stuff. But if you can, I mean, what a great thing to do. Come and study for a couple of weeks or a month or even, a whole schooling system. Yeah, because that's good now with and a great way to look in the culture and stuff like that. You learn a bit of Japanese too.
Yeah, and you can actually use it living in a daily life in Japan. Yeah,
and it's great. And of course, she gets some time off as well, so she came and visited us. And
and went traveling after here.
Yeah, used the weekend to just float around a bit. Yeah. Which is nice if you got the time. That's another way to look at Japan or anywhere else in the world. Her name is
Carly. From
Right.
Australia
Carly from Australia. And we did an interview with Carly
last July.
last year. And so we thought we'd show you that one again.
Yeah.
Try to get her to do it again this time, but it was a short little trip, so we let her enjoy herself and not push her buttons. She just wanted to come in and do what she does, which is just relax
Taking
in
a
the
bath
onsen.
and going for sauna.
Yeah, and that's what she did.
Yeah.
We had a little couple of drinks and nibbles.
Yeah.
That
It was good too.
And she
Catching up.
She caught a bit of my band on Friday night as well, which was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very good, but I think she's coming back as well. So
You probably will see her again.
yes, we will.
We'll do the interview the next time.
Speaking of the interview, you want to? Maybe we'll leave you with the interview today.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay then.
So here we are. So this episode for March is all about schooling and education, and welcome back to Carly, who took it on in another way, traveling but educating as well and learning a bit of Japanese. So maybe this could be a future for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and come
Could
in.
be a future for you too.
Yeah, so
Coming
very
into
very interesting girl. So we're going to leave you with that video there. Okay, and we'll see you guys later.
Yeah, enjoy.
Bye. Hey.
Cheers.
Or is it
To the
kampai?
ripplers.
Kanpai.
We're making our own ripples right here.
Onsen. Ripple.
You got to do the diddle diddle diddle.
Oh.
Hey, who are you?
Welcome back
Exactly, who am
to
I?
Japan.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Carly
Carly.
Pilling, one of our guests. And this is not the first time we've met.
No,
No.
No, we were roommates, buddies.
we weren't roommates.
You lived in
housemates.
the house.
I was
It's not
part of the
bad.
Blue House gang. I lived in the apartment block after you and Harry moved out.
Okay, so that was 2003. This is a long time rippler.
It's been 20 years.
It's been 20 years of longer actually.
Yeah, so we were all friends in Sapporo when we all lived there before the onsen work started, and
Yeah.
that was like the big community with a lot of foreigners. And where are you from? Tell us the Carly Pilling story while I go and do customers here.
Where am I from?
Yeah.
Well, I live in Sydney, in Australia. Born in Sydney, grew up in a town called Byron Bay, which is like a beach area.
Yes.
And then when I was 19, moved to Sapporo.
I know. That's when we met.
And that's when we all met, yeah.
No, 19.
I know, 19. So quite some time ago.
Yes.
And then the last time I saw you guys was 18 years ago at your wedding.
Yeah, that's right. That was the last time.
Yeah,
It's been 18 years since
it has been 18 years. It doesn't feel like it though.
I know. It's kind of bizarre.
It is bizarre.
Yeah, time flies. Well, we kept in touch in a way. Yeah. So, and all of a sudden I get this message. Hey, Hario, I'm coming to Japan. Okay, coming to Onsen.
And I'm coming to visit.
Yeah. It's like, woohoo!
So it's been 18 years since I've been back in Sapporo.
Yeah.
Been back to Japan quite a few times since then, but this is the first time coming back here, and it feels good. Not much has changed. It feels like home
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
That's not 18 years ago, and the last time I saw you was at my wedding.
Yeah,
But I wasn't getting married to you, I was getting married to her.
This one.
correct.
And yeah, thank you for coming. You from all the way from England, flew all the way for that.
That's right. You were living in England then.
So yeah, after Sapporo, I moved to England for 2 years, and then it happened to be the timing worked really well when you were getting married. I stayed a little bit longer than I was going to in England, so I could time it so I could come back for your wedding on my way back to Australia,
Yeah.
and then started my life back in Australia and been there ever since.
Wow.
But always dreaming of onsens and wishing that we had onsen culture in Australia, but we don't.
Well, you never know.
It's a work in progress.
Well, this is your job now. This is what I'm trying to do here now. I'm trying to promote the onsen culture to all the foreigners out there, and we're doing it in English, so hopefully you can get a little bit of an idea and not feel so scared and nervous. And any questions you have, you know, we're here. We have the onsen here. We're working it out. And tell me your first onsen experience.
My
Now,
first
you were
on-
19 when you came to Japan.
Yes,
right?
but not for the first time. So I was 16 when I first came to Japan. I studied Japanese all through high school, and we were really lucky with our high school. Our Japanese teacher put in for a grant for the government. We had this scheme at the time, and she applied for our trip to be funded for our entire class to come to Japan. and majority of it was paid for. Yeah, 30 of us. So the majority of it was paid for. We just had to pay for small parts of it. So we went to Osaka for 2 weeks and then traveled around Kyoto, Tokyo, and Takayama for 2 weeks.
And everyone there was Australian.
Yeah, we're all Australian. We're all 16. We're in like year 10 at high school in Australia. And then, so my very first onsen experience, I think, was when we were in Tokyo, and we stayed at like this Tokyo, I think it used to be the Olympic Village, and we all went in there and we were all a little bit nervous. And it was an indoor onsen, and I remember we're all kind of like hiding a little bit as we're getting like washing in the onsen.
16-year-olds.
16-year-old girls, yeah, for the first time. Right. And then a bunch of us were just like, whatever, and then like just got up naked and like walked into the onsen. So that was fun. And then about a few days later in Takayama, and that's when we organised for a private onsen that we were all allowed in, and we all just like let loose in there. And even like took photos and things that you're allowed to, like of behinds, like, you know, nothing bad. Yeah. But so that was my first experience, and ever since then I loved onsen. So when I moved back here, when I came to Sapporo, when I finished high school, I just became obsessed with onsens, and because we were snowboarding a lot here,
that's right.
It would be Sunday was our day off from teaching English, go snowboarding, then finish it off with an onsen, and it was like the perfect Sunday.
Those good old days, I remember them.
Those good old days.
We used to go snowboarding together.
And I'd throw in a curry there as well. So
yeah, that's right.
Yes. I topped it off, so usually the onsen and the curry, and then, yeah.
It was perfect, and I love curry. And it's so nice when it's snowing, especially the outdoor onsens, because it's just so beautiful being in the onsen and the snow literally coming down. Yeah. And also you're so sore from snowboarding all day. It's like the perfect finish of the day.
It was very nice. And it's perfect too because you can be outside and you're still, even though it's cold and snowing.
You're warm, yeah.
You're warm, it's a great, great feeling.
It's nice.
Oh, good. And so you were here for about 3 years, right?
I think no, not that long. It was a year and a half. It feels like much longer.
It feels like
we
forever.
fitted in a lot. We fitted in a lot of activities of everything. It was very So it was a year and a half in Sapporo, and then moved to England for 2 years. Came back via here for your wedding, and then since then I've probably been back to Japan about 6 times. But it's been like Tokyo for a week. Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, usually with friends, and they want to see those places.
Was that a holiday thing or a work thing?
Always a holiday thing, and often I've always made sure I go to onsens, and I always try and book hotels, even like Tokyo, Osaka, that have the hotel onsen. Yeah. So after you've been, touristing all day, you can go and have an onsen in the evening. Yeah. It's perfect.
So when you come with your friends here and you said, you book these hotels, now, are these friends who have been already to Japan with you, or
usually not? So my advice always is, and it's quite funny actually, because I've lived in Japan and been to Japan so many times. In Australia at work, it gets out in the office a lot that I know Japan. So people are always like, go and speak to Carly.
Yeah, like the Japanese information center.
Yes, I'm the information center for Japan. I should be like this. I should be paid for endorsing it. And something I always say, and I said this just recently to someone I work with who was going for the first time. It was her and her boyfriend. And I was like, you must go to an onsen. And she was like, okay, tell me about it. And she was really excited. And something I always give the advice to, I'm like, look, when you go in, it's a little bit daunting. Everyone's naked. It's segregated like boys and girls if it's unless it's a private one. And once you're getting naked, people might stare at you a little bit. And it's total curiosity. There's nothing to be worried about. People are just like, oh, what does that look like? Okay, are they different to me? And not to be put off by that. And I always say that, don't be put off by it. It's nothing. And as people come back from Japan, they're like, yes, you were right. Oh my God. But no, I just kept going. It was fine. And it's always a funny thing. And then the question of tattoos often comes up, and I explain to people that these days there are a lot of places that you can get in with tattoos, this being one of them, right? And some places let you cover the tattoo, or you can always have the private room. Because in Australia, a lot of people have tattoos these days.
I think not only Australia, I think everywhere.
Everywhere.
And even Japan, I think too, it's the tattoo culture is taking over its sports. The younger kids are finding it. A lot of the music scene, and they're trendy and they're fashionable, and so I think it's probably been. It was always going to be that way, where the tattoo culture was always going to mix with the regular culture, and it was a while ago. It was a certain group of people who had a certain idea. they were the ones who had tattoos. But now it's girls, it's
Oh, it's
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah,
it's
All
boys, it's,
ages as well. Yeah.
Everyone, all ages, older ladies, and
yeah. It's a fashion.
yeah, it's fashion, it's trendy. I guess everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
And for memorial reasons, for whatever reason. What fascinates me about tattoos is that you'd go out there and you get a tattoo on your arm or your body that will never come off. But that same picture you wouldn't put up on your wall, would you? And it's like, oh, that's a nice painting. It's like,
I know.
no, but you would have cut it all.
This is hence why I haven't ever got a tattoo. But when I speak to friends about this, what they say to that is, yes, but it symbolises a time in my life where I really liked that, and I'll always have that memory, even if you don't like the tattoo anymore. But I've thought about that myself.
Yeah, wow. And so you're like the information girl. You tell them all these things, and Onsen's one of the top priorities that comes up.
Always. And people get a bit awkward about it sometimes. They're like, oh, but really? Oh, do we really? And I'm like, even if you're in a hotel and they've got one, go really early or go later at night and there probably won't be people in there, and just test it out, even if you're in there for 5 minutes. And I always tell them the protocol. Make sure you wash first and like kind of break it down of what the steps are to make people feel more comfortable. Because I forget sometimes I was kind of brought into the onsen scene younger and I've gone so many times, but it is a bit daunting if you haven't been before.
Yeah, definitely.
And sometimes all the signs are in Japanese. You're kind of looking at the pictures. You're like, can I do this? Do I do this? And if you're in a hotel, often all the people that are trying to go in are not from Japan. So sometimes it's blind leading the blind. And once I actually walked into the boys one and it was a funny story, actually. I must have been having like a moment because I was at, where was I? Lake Kawaguchiko, Mount Fuji. And this was only about 5 years ago. So I've been to so many onsens and I was so excited because I hadn't been to Japan for a while. And I was in my hotel room and for some reason I put on the boys yukata, the blue yukata. I don't even know why I did that. And I walked into the boys one, but there was no one in there. And then something dawned on me when I saw something and I was like, and I ran out. But anyway, it was just a funny moment because if someone was in there, I don't know, I was just being,
But I'm sure those mistakes get made often as well.
Yeah, and it's totally fine if it does, because it would happen. Yes, so if you ever make a mistake, know that I've also done that.
So there's a whole bunch of things that when you come, like I remember when I came to Japan and I really didn't speak anything. I had a little guidebook, a little phrase book of numbers and counting. But when you see all the language and the writing, and so it can be very confusing, let alone taking all your clothes off and going to have a bath and knowing all the etiquette. But yeah, you're right. You just do it, head down, and think of it as an experience, because that's what it was basically like. Just bite the bullet, and of course you're going to make the mistakes sometimes. And when people are kind enough to realize that this is your first time.
Definitely, if you're in a hotel and there's other kind of tourists there or travelers, often you're all in it together anyway. But if not, and if you're a place like, for example, here, always the people who are running the hotel or the onsen place will always help you out. Yeah. And they ask you, and they'll like give you tips and all that type of thing. So you'll always have help.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I'm going to ask you this question. Sure. Like, well, I've never really rated it, but when we talk about culture in Japan and stuff like that, where would the onsen culture be rated as? Like, as soon as you think of Japan, you say sushi or sumo wrestling, and then you get down to the martial arts or the tea ceremonies and the more intricate things like origami. Is onsen right up there in the top 10?
Yes, definitely.
Really?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, so long-term history.
Yeah.
Because you and I were talking earlier about the fact that it's a little bit different now, but even when I was here 20 years ago, I remember the bath houses were really popular still, because a lot of apartments and houses, older houses, still didn't have showers and baths because people relied on just going to their local bathhouse onsen. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
That was
it's
like
the
culture.
like communication place.
Yeah, it's community. And there's a few cultures like this. I was in Iceland last year and they have a similar culture with their saunas and their biothermal lagoons. It's very similar, and it brings communities together, and it's a healthy, like, good thing of getting together and chatting afterwards, and you don't have to go out drinking and whatever to have that kind of like connection with people. That's what I love about it.
Yeah. You go for a bath, you get healthier, and you make friends, and just makes your life much more happier.
People watching this that who are coming for the first time or have never done that before, it's a really hard concept to get to be social in a bath, because like where I'm from and my history, it's like, well, there's like the Indian side of things, there's obviously some kind of a ritual with bathing or that's all right, but then the basic, you're dirty, you get clean. That's what it is. You know? That's what the bath is, and basically, or we go for a swim in the rivers and the lakes and stuff, and there's never a situation where you just want to sit down in the bath. So that's not that, and then let alone sit down and soak in your bath by yourself, but have a whole bunch of people around you. It's like,
even if you're not chatting in the onsen, and often I go into them alone, but it's the afterwards as well that there's the you know, when you're sitting down relaxing afterwards, where there's like a lot of chat happens.
Even in the changing room.
Yeah.
Or, you know, just starts from like, it was a really nice bath, wasn't it? And then start talking with other people. People explain about this bath history or something.
Which is good here. I have a question that I don't know because I live here and I never see it. But I wanted to ask you. Now you were in Hokkaido and Sapporo back in the day, and you've come back ever since, and now you just come to another onsen. Has that changed, that culture? Do you think that it's fading a little bit? Do you think it's a little bit more? Is it the same experience that you had when the first time? You think it's or do you think the people are different, or have you noticed it being a little bit more open now? Is it you know, any of those things? Because I never notice it because I'm here. So like,
what do you mean, like the
whole thing, the whole onsen experience? Are there more foreigners now, do you think, or is it?
It's
what
hard
about the Japanese people that you see inside? Have they changed? Are they a bit more open, or are they a bit more relaxed to you? Do they still stare at you, or is it more? How's it changed over the time?
Over the years? Like if this
because you haven't come in I've come in every day. I haven't noticed anything. It's been the same for me because I take a bath every day. And
you're used to it. This trip's a little bit different because this is the first onsen I've been to this trip, and I haven't been back to Japan in 5 years, since 2017. So no, it's been great here, and no one's been staring at me or anything. I've been really conscious of making sure I understand all the rules, all the guidelines of what to do. But if I think back to when I was last year in 2017, I was with a friend. She'd never been to onsens before. I think people particularly in like Tokyo and areas like that, Japanese people are getting more used to having non-Japanese people in the onsens. And they kind of know that, there's some people that don't really know what they're doing and might ask for help, and they're used to seeing other people that look different to them. I think that's getting more and more. If I compare it back to when I was 16 versus now, it's very different. And people get so excited by it. I know two of my friends came here. They went to Tokyo and Kyoto over Christmas, New Year. They're both covered in tattoos, so they specifically found places, and they found many that they could go into onsen, and they were doing it almost every night. And also something that has changed a bit actually is the sauna culture that's been coupled with it, that is getting more and more popular in Japan, which is really popular in Australia as well.
So, saunas are becoming popular in Australia.
Very popular in Australia. The sauna ice bath combo. So when I found out that they're becoming popular here as well, I thought that was cool. And I can imagine a lot of travellers, people that are visiting, feel comfortable in saunas as well because they're quite popular elsewhere.
Well, I have a question. Like here in Japan, we got bath, onsen, and then sauna together. But like in Oz, there's no onsen or there's no bathhouse. Would be the saunas.
So it's getting there. There's bathhouses are starting. But it's more you go into the sauna and then you go into an ice bath. So you don't really hang out in the ice bath. People go in like one at a time, but they hang out in the sauna. So there is a sauna culture that's being created in Australia, which I love, and I hope it continues. But you more hang together in the sauna. Whereas here you hang in the onsen and then you go into the ice bath.
I think what I've noticed, because I keep going back to Australia all the time, I've noticed more Japanese culture creeping into the Australian side of things, which I didn't notice before. And I guess that's because, over the last 30 years that I've been here, over the last 30 years that when I first came here, I got given a whole bunch of wrong information from friends who'd never been here, which is usually what happens. And it's like, no, you can't do that. And, Japan's so hard and it's so expensive, and it's
People
like,
always say it's so expensive. I'm
how can you
like,
do
which
that?
part are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Australia's expensive. It's,
So
it's
I was
no
quite,
more.
I really thought, well, all right, I'm just going to bite the bullet, just jump on the plane, and I don't care how expensive it is, and I don't care how hard it's going to be, and whether the people of this or who I was going to do it. And nothing anyone told me was correct. All right. And these are days before like the internet and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I had to rely on this like information that I got from people who had never been there. So basically, well, that's what they're the ones that talk the loudest too. You know, it's like, oh man, you should see this thing, and it's like, yeah, all right. But what I did notice every time I came back was that more and more Australians, for example, came to Japan over the years and brought back some of these ideas and started their own businesses. Like there was maybe 1 or 2 ramen shops when I first.
Japanese
But
restaurants are
now
everywhere
Japanese
now.
restaurants,
Everywhere.
Japanese food, and it's even in the food courts.
Yeah, definitely. It's a staple. It's one of the, so, you know, you go to a food court or you might going for a work lunch, and it's like, what do you want to have? Do you want sushi? Do you want Mexican? Do you want hamburgers? Do you want Italian? Sushi, like Japanese is always in there.
Like 30 years ago, I never
Always.
ever found sushi in a food court.
Oh, it's always there.
It was in
now.
a special place that you.
Often there's more. Often there's 2.
Right.
There's one that just does like on the go sushi, and there's ones where you sit down. But yeah, often there can be. It's so popular.
Yeah.
Japanese food's so
So
popular.
that, of course, obviously the food, but then there was other things that like like people are really starting to get into things like the onsens and all the other cultures. And manga, I think all the cartoons, anime's always been
Ghibli,
popular.
and
that's always been a thing that Japan have always been that. And but I've noticed every time I've gone back, there's been more.
Something that's just come to Australia, which is a bit of a walk down memory lane, is Haichu, the drinks that are like 8%, and they were so big 20 years ago in Japan. They've just in the last 12 months come to Australia, and all the like early 20s people are loving them. And it's weird seeing them. It's really funny. They're sold everywhere. It's like the newest craze, like Japanese Alco Pops.
And I think you were telling me today that the convenient egg sandwich was.
Yes, the egg sandwich, the convenience store egg sandwich, which I highly recommend to anyone if they haven't had it when you come to Japan. People in Australia are trying to recreate that because it is delicious. The buttery soft bread, and then the mayonnaise with egg, and it's so soft, it's not chunky like in Australia. So that is definitely becoming popular.
Yeah, there's Japanese bread.
Yes,
it is becoming really popular.
Yep.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
So
I wouldn't think so, but
that's good to hear. So I'm thinking that in the future that more people will be very, very accepting of the onsens.
100%. I think people are. It's just they're nervous about it at the beginning. But I always recommend just give it a go. And see how it goes. And if you're nervous about going in with your friend, then go at different times. Yeah. You don't have to go in at the same time if you're nervous at first about that.
You better put your little Japan info website.
Carly's info.
Ask Carly whatever you want. I have the information here. But I do have to ask you, this is the first time you've been to Marumika Onsen, our place.
This place.
Yeah, Otofuke. How does it compare? Big one. I know your favourites in Sapporo.
What?
The one with the curry, the Hohekyo.
Oh,
onsen.
yes.
And that's
because
maybe
it's outdoors. That's because it has memories of going outdoors and when it's snowing, and then it's got the curry. No, I love this onsen. I went into the sauna for the first time today, which was really, really good. I love how big the hot onsen is here. Is the boy and girl onsen the same? Actually, it looks the same. And it's really relaxing. And then I haven't been in one before that's got the bubbles like you have.
Yeah.
And then you can go into the cooler one. I really like it. And I love that I love that I have friends that own an onsen. And I tell people that, by the way, I claim you as my own. I'm like, well, my friends own, and so now I can say I've also been. But no, it's really nice.
You've ever been on, it's even better that you're on.
I can
Ripples
send
now,
them exactly. I'm a Rippler. I'm a
Rippler from way back.
You're Rippler.
The view here from your onsen is next level.
Yeah.
Like right now, with what season it is, it's like luscious green out, and it's so beautiful to look at. And I'd love to come back again when it's snowing and see the snow outlook. But I think that's beautiful. That's a point of difference compared to other onsens.
Apart from it being all white, we lose a lot of the leaves on the trees, so you can see right up to the mountain range, which is quite. In
front of us there's huge mountain range.
You can't see because it's covered by leaves right now. But,
that's there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is a point of difference. You don't always get that. Often there might be something looking, but the fact that all that one side is glass and you just look
glass,
out, and that no one can see, like you're looking, it's all trees and the faraway view. I think that's beautiful. It's also something to look at, which is quite zen. If you anyone can face that way and just zone out. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you see squirrels running around.
I was going to say you probably get some like entertainment sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
A little bit, yeah.
But it's beautiful, and it's good that it's big because it fits a lot more people.
Yeah.
And I can feel here, which is really lovely, is there's a community feel, and just being here a few days, seeing the regulars that come in, and then seeing them chatting together when they're in there and washing each other's backs and doing different things is just beautiful.
So it does keep a little bit of that. It's got the new feel about it.
Yeah.
A foreigner running it, and something different, but then it still has that kind of traditional side to it as well. Speaking of the you look very nice in our robes here.
I've got my yukata on, straight out of the onsen.
So when you do come and stay here, you'll be walking around with one of these things. I'm not pointing at Carly, one of the things that she's wearing.
This?
Yeah.
So yeah, I love this because you don't have to navigate your clothes. You put this on in your room and walk to the onsen with this on.
Just walk around.
And then
walk around, and people are very comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And comfortable seeing you and things like that. People do walk around. It's not pajamas, but
no, it's specifically for this. Yeah.
And how easy is it just to you're off and then you're in.
Yeah, you're in and then you're out, and you don't have to navigate like trying to put your clothes back on and stuff. You can do that back. Yeah.
So that's the onsen part of it. And the other thing that you people might were curious about is also, which I was very curious when I first came here. Today is 35 degrees today, and you still had an onsen in the hot part. So,
and I will admit, it's the first time I think I've had. It's the first time in a long time I've been here this time of year where it's been so hot. So it was kind of weird. Your brain's kind of like, wait, it's so hot outside, and you're getting into a hot onsen. Yeah. What I was doing today is I was cooling off after the onsen. I kind of put myself cold water over myself, but still, as soon as you then go and rest for 10 minutes. Or so, and your body cools down, then you just feel really, really relaxed and your skin feels beautiful. So the fact that it's hot isn't a deterrent, because now my muscles and my neck and everything feels really good.
Relaxed.
Yeah, it's the perfect way to end the day.
Because doing snowboarding and stuff, and then getting into the hot onsen after being out in the ice,
it's so good.
Is different. But then I never got used to the idea of it being 30 degrees outside and going into a hot bath. If it was anywhere above 20, I wanted to go to the beach.
Yeah.
So that was quite.
You just feel it on your skin.
Oh, I can do it now. I understand it now, but a lot of people out there, I think, would have the same idea as what I.
Everyone asks, it's too hot. You can't go in a bath. It's it's the best time to go for bath, because after you come out, your skin just feels so smooth.
Nice.
It's not none of those stickiness there.
And you cool down as well. But it's nice because, it's just a relaxing. I've had friends who came to Japan, and he said he actually was going really early in the morning before he starts his day of walking around Tokyo and all the tourist things, which is a cool way of doing it. He said he liked that. I prefer to do it at night because after a big day of all the things you're doing, and you can just relax and you have such a nice sleep.
Yeah, that's true.
And tomorrow you'll be up there. For the last one before you head back home.
Last one before I head back home, head to Sapporo. And then for the first time, actually, because this trip the theme is onsens, I'll be going to an onsen town, which will be a nice experience.
Yeah.
Great.
Where you literally walk around the town in your yukata in this and hop onsens, which would be cool.
Onsen hopping.
Yeah.
Nice.
Onsen hopper.
I am an onsen hopper.
And tomorrow you'll be taking your camera in with you, though. I don't think we have any other guests, do we?
If there's no one in there, which there probably won't be, I'll be taking my camera in and making a little video to show people when they ask me how to onsen. Yeah.
Maybe, so look out for the demonstration video. It could be a big hit. You never know.
You never know. It could go viral.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've never seen a video.
Introduce your video.
And because the good thing is, because you guys both manage here, I can get permission to take my camera in. So it's good. Yeah.
So look out for that. That'll be the next big thing to come out.
I can't wait to check it out.
Carly's way.
Onsen, Carly's way.
Yeah.
How to onsen.
How to.
Onsen for dummies.
Onsen.
101.
Onsen 101.
Well, thank you. You've been absolutely wonderful. It's absolutely amazing seeing you again after all this time.
I love it. It's been so nice. It doesn't feel like 18 years at all.
You haven't changed at all.
Hopefully I'm a little bit more knowledgeable or something.
Yeah, you
but it doesn't feel like when I saw both of you, I was like, does it feel like a few days ago that I saw you?
Yeah.
You get to meet your gorgeous daughter who's like 10 and so it's been amazing. I'll be back for sure.
Definitely.
Well,
Maybe next time will be winter when I'm back so I can experience the.
Well, yeah, well, look for us. We'll be here.
Yeah, I'm sure you will be.
You know where to find us.
So enjoy the rest of your trip, and thank
Will
you so
do.
much for popping in
Love
and saying
it.
hello and saying hello to the Ripplers out there. And yeah, we've had quite a few guests recently on our thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is the summertime.
Really nice.
Really nice. And all these wonderful people come up. And I don't know if it's the Ripples that is doing it or just,
It is.
you know, the word's getting out. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be the viewing, it just has to be the word. And that's what the whole show's about. So thank you very much, Kylie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's not make it 18 years before we see each other again.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 months.
6 months. You never know. It could be next
Yeah.
month.
Exactly.
Could
Yeah,
stay
sure.
forever in Japan. Who
Yeah,
knows?
who
Who knows?
knows?
Who knows?
Well, yeah, that's the way to live life, I think. That's it. So thank you all for joining
Thank
in
you.
today.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time on Onsen Rivals.
Thank you.